Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's BDL44 coming at you with another video. I am a civilian. I don't serve. I have family members who have served, and I appreciate and respect all of our troops and all of the people who contribute to our protection and our freedom. Seeing what's going on in Afghanistan helps me understand just how quickly, reminded of how quickly things can go wrong, how quickly an entire country can be uh, overrun. Power can be switched in a matter of a second, and because we have the type of army and the type of leadership in that place, in that regard, in place, um, we are afforded the opportunity to not be concerned with those type of things happening here. Um, what I saw yesterday in the footage of our troops leaving Afghanistan was a traumatic thing for anyone to watch, in my opinion. Yet another desensitizing image that kind of removes some of the humanity from our people. I really believe that, but it doesn't mean that we shouldn't see those images. It means we should understand that desensitization is taking place when doing so. We saw people running for their lives, fearing the worst for themselves, and willing to put their lives in risk to leave the country. I don't know what's right in regards to their situation. I am ignorant, so I'm not going to sit here and say that the Taliban is going to do a horrible job or anything like that. I'm ignorant. I do not know. What I can tell you is what I saw was an exit that cost people lives, that was poorly executed. And the only explanation that I heard from our president was that there was never a good time to leave. I don't know nothing about that. All I know is there has to be a better way to leave than what we saw. If the time is now to leave, okay. If it wasn't Biden's idea and it was Trump's idea and his agreement, I don't have an opinion about that. I don't care, bro. I literally do not care. I'm more so looking at the images that I saw and understand that America could have did something to keep it from being that chaotic. We've been there for 20 years. We couldn't do better than that. You know what I mean? My brother's been sent out there 3 times, I think. Wherever they send him, I don't know, somewhere out there. Spent a lot of time there. Risked his life there. Probably did some things there that he don't want to talk about. Did we get what we were supposed to get out of that situation? I only have questions. I don't have any answers. I don't know. But did we? Those who know, did we really? Are you sure? I've heard a lot of people talk about what we came there for versus what we were there for afterward, why we stayed. I've heard things over the years about why that wars take so long. Hearsay. I don't read into that stuff, so I'm not going to try to further the conversation in any way. All I'm saying is there has to be a better way to exit a country than what we displayed yesterday. We looked like a team who was fleeing for our lives. We looked like we were fleeing for our lives, just like those folks were running on the tarmac trying to get onto the plane. The plane was equally trying to get the hell out of there. We have the strongest army in the world. Is that what I saw? Are we afraid of them? Is that what this really comes down to? That we couldn't get out of there quick enough, and we were so in danger that we couldn't stop the plane to assure that people's lives weren't in danger? That plane actually took off with people attached to it. And of course it's fine, right? It's okay because it's sanctioned by the American government. That's not murder, because it's an Afghanistan life, and those don't matter as much. See what I'm saying, man? That's where I come from. I come from a place of, I'm not someone who's confused about collateral damage, war, someone who's confused about whether there being circumstances where there's no right or wrong answer, no real way to save women and children in some cases. There are going to be scenarios out there for leaders to make that are just going to be difficult, and we're just going to have to suffer the understanding of that. They have to suffer the truth of that themselves. It's just part of it. The conundrum of the world sometimes puts you in positions where there's no real right or wrong answer, and there's no way to be honest to the people without panicking the people. And it's a lot of other stuff going on politically that's so far above my head, but I do understand it's very, 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 very complicated. So with that being said, I don't necessarily look and say, you guys aren't doing the right thing. I'm just simply saying, okay, a little bit of structuring in terms of timing. You don't leave in the middle of the day. You make sure that you block off all of the areas where people will be running onto the tarmacs. Right? You don't let that even be an area where human beings can actually get to. That should have been something that they've been building for the last year, anticipating something like this. Especially since, from what I understand, they've seen exits such as this before by other countries leaving countries in the same manner. You know, people rushing and running after planes and stuff like that. They should have anticipated something like that. This was about as poorly executed as us handling the initial COVID situation, in my opinion. When they were sitting around telling everybody to prepare to be in the house for 2 and 3 months, but didn't have any single plan for how to handle people rushing in and out of grocery stores and in and out of certain places, created world national wide panic in regards to telling people to prepare to be in their homes, but not putting the country in a position to facilitate resources to those families in a safe way. People were going without toilet paper and stupid stuff like that because you had a couple people hoarding. That kind of stuff was anticipated by a mind like myself. I could have told you that was going to happen. As soon as I heard them say that, I was like, oh, people are about to rush out to their various places and basically riot those places. You're gonna see rioting in the streets. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, but what you did see was grocery stores cleared out in a matter of seconds. You can't just tell people that they're going to be stuck in the house for 2 months. Why? Because they're going to be probably preparing to be stuck in the house for 2 years. You see what I'm saying? They're not going to take your timeline seriously. They're going to exaggerate that to whatever it is for their mindset. Some people are going to even do worse things trying to, take care of their survival. People, you don't know what the mind of a person is. And you say that to just the widespread public, you are creating chaos. Poorly executed. And this looks similar. You trying to tell me you couldn't anticipate people not wanting you to leave when you're seeing the entire country being overrun by people that you've painted, because I don't know what the truth is, but you've painted to be the worst human beings in the world. The infamous Taliban. And you're trying to tell me they're taking over the country and we're leaving and we're letting that happen? And you think people aren't going to be trying to rush their way out of that country? People are going to be looking at that like, and I say this respectfully, they're going to be looking at it like they're slaves hopping off the slave ship into the water. Because they think that if they're going to be under the reins of the Taliban, that things are going to be a hell of a lot worse than death. And if you couldn't see that, you couldn't anticipate that, then you were not able to see what you need to see to be in power. You don't see the angles you need to see to be in the position to have what it is that you are responsible for. And that's coming from somebody who doesn't know much about anything. But I could have told you that. I could tell you that if you let people think that you're the God there to save them, and you up and leave overnight, and the president up and leave overnight, and now the enemy's coming over to take over, hell yeah, people are going to do everything they can to get out the country. It's common sense. I could have told you that 10, 15 years ago. I didn't need to be this age to tell you that. And then you sitting up here telling me that, well, we need to leave at some point. Nah, homie, I'm not that kind of stupid. That's a different conversation. That's an entirely different conversation. Whether or not we needed to leave now, I could argue we should have left 15 years ago. And when we should have left 15 years ago, we should have anticipated what took place yesterday. People rushing after the planes, being willing to go up into the sky and fall to their doom to keep from having to be under the reign of the people that you told us are the worst human beings on the planet. And as an American, I look back and I say, okay, well, were they lying about the Taliban? Were they able to reach them Did they infiltrate the Taliban and turn them into something that they know? Some did you civilize them? Did you give them the Bible? You know what I'm saying? Like what happened there? Why am I to believe that they're suddenly not the worst people ever, and that that country is about to be in shackles, and the women and children are about to be slaughtered? Like, why shouldn't I think that? Because you've been telling me that for 20 years. That I should fear the Taliban, that I should fear everything having to do with those people, and now you're telling me that my country just tucked its tail between its legs because, well, quite frankly, the people that they've been training for the last 20 years were cowards? That's what you're telling me? They've been preparing to fight for this land. You've been training them to be soldiers, and now you're telling me that they just don't want to fight. Why would that be? You were training them. Why are they cowardice now? After 20 years, you train your soldiers to be the best in the world. You've been training them for 20 years. Now they don't want to fight. So you're trying to tell me you got duped. You're trying to tell me that you strengthened the Taliban army thinking that they were civilians that needed your help when you were actually training them and arming them for 20 years. Is that what you're telling me? I'm not that smart, so I need someone to explain this to me. You see what I'm saying? I don't know. But the way it looks, the propaganda I've been fed for the last 20 years tells me that we just walked away and let the devil take over. And left a bunch of innocent people there to die and suffer, and we're supposed to fly back home, and that's supposed to be okay. I as an American, supposed to be fine about that because my brother's not over there no more. I don't have to worry about my nephew or my nieces, whomever, going over there now. I'm supposed to be fine with that. But I can't be fine with that because they were over there in the freaking first place. Why? If the job didn't get done, why the hell were we over there for so long? Or did you get everything you needed and now you don't care about humanity no more over there? Because they never did matter. Or did you just get duped like people were saying you did? Figured it out and now are leaving? I don't know. But from what I understand, this ain't even the current president's plan. So am I to say that he botched this purposefully just because it was the other guy's plan? That doesn't make sense. Not that it's leaving the way that we did. It doesn't make sense. And it should have been executed better. And for anybody that tells me it couldn't have been executed better, I can tell you we could have done a better job. You put up a couple barriers, you don't have that many people running out there. You put up some serious barriers. You put some armed gunmen out there. You don't have that many people attached to a plane. And you most certainly don't take off when people are attached to the damn plane. It's called murder. That's what it's called. It's called murder. Sanctioned by the U.S. government. Wouldn't be the first one. No one's going to hold anybody accountable, but it's murder. We all witnessed it. So you can say what you want. You get mad at me. Hey, whatever. Like I said, I get collateral damage. I get it. But that did not have to happen. That didn't have to happen. I'm certain of that. So that's all I'm here to say. That's all I understand. My name is BDF44 and I'm out.